Found another great pattern from Steve Good. This was on his website, January 1st, 2018. It says you and me, and it's a little heart puzzle, although there's only 2 parts, so it wouldn't take too much to put that puzzle together. But I kind of like it. It looks like it'll be fun. Not too difficult. And so I found some 1/2-inch Purpleheart in my stash. It calls for 1/2-inch material, I believe. Even if it doesn't, that's what I'm going to make it from. Okay, so 6 1/4 by 13 3/4. I use roll saw tape to put my patterns on. I've mentioned that many times in videos, and I have a complete video on attaching patterns in the works. I was able to fit 3 patterns on that piece, and I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pilot holes to cut out the letters. Let me go over to the drill press and do that. I grabbed a 5/64 drill bit. Drill these pilot holes. Well, that's what happens if you don't tighten the drill bit tight enough. I used a number 12 blade in the scroll saw to separate the 3 patterns. They're easier to cut when they're small, and I got a number 9 blade in here. Normally I'd use a 7 for 1/2-inch, but this blade has been already used, so it's getting a little worn, and Purpleheart is pretty hard, so let's see how this works. I may need to slow it down a little bit, but maybe not. We got 90 bunch of very sharp turns here. So if you're an inexperienced scroll saw user, this could be a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to back out, put the 2 sides of that Y. Then I'll go back and make the 1 turn. That way I'm going to make 1 really sharp 90-degree. Alright, that's 1 letter. So if you're inexperienced, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but there's only a few cuts, so take your time. You might want to try it on some less expensive material. After all, it could be really anything, but I thought what's more appropriate for a heart than Purpleheart. And also, I opened a small retail store a couple months ago, and customers just are absolutely intrigued by anything made from Purpleheart, so for selling. Making this for a gift or whatever, then you do whatever you want, but when you're making to sell to somebody else, anything you can do to make it more attractive to the potential buyer is a good idea. Yeah, the two sides of the O are pretty close together, so you want to be real careful you don't overshoot or you'll cut the middle right out of it. This is one of those places where the lighted magnifier comes in handy, as well as the foot switch for on-off, so I can keep both hands on the workpiece at all times. You need both hands in order to put downward pressure on it. These are reverse tooth blades. It's I mentioned number 9, it's a number 9 Pegasus modified geometry blade. Those are currently my go-to blades of the modified geometry series, different sizes. But they're reverse tooth blades, so that means they do most of the cutting on the downstroke, but they also cut on the upstroke. So if you don't hold on to it, the blade is going to want to catch the piece and grab away from it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inside cuts. Now we'll do the outside and then the one that makes it into a puzzle. One long cut to the outside. Now I was right to leave the number 9 blade in here. It's a little bit worn. And this Purpleheart side stuff. It would have taken a new number 7 blade to do this anyway. Now I think what I'm going to do is, because of this part shape and it comes to a point, I'm just going to keep on going down the middle, and I'll make those 2 roots and make it a puzzle piece. There's the half of the heart with you on it. And I'll go back in, do the other half. There's the second half. We'll peel off the scroll saw tape. It comes off easily. That's one of the reasons I like it. And the two pieces slip together easily. They should slip together either direction, yes. So that means the blade was at a 90 to the table. If the blade is off when you're doing puzzle pieces, they won't come apart in one direction. They'll come apart in one direction, but not in the other. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, there's the you me. It only took a few minutes. I didn't even time it, but it wasn't very long. Now we go to the woodworker's favorite chore, sanding. This will be easy sanding, just a little bit on the top and the bottom. I got a little tiny sliver from that piece of Purpleheart. Look, it's sticking out far enough. This is a downdraft table. I didn't even bother turning on the dust collector because it was such a little bit to sand. And I'm going to finish up the sanding with a piece of sandpaper by hand. Like I said, a little bit of hand sanding on this. You want to take the sharpness off the edges. And this is the best way to do that. It's a very small piece. I don't want to put it through the router table and a round over bit. I don't think I need that much. Just need a little bit here to take the sharpness of the edge off. And that's sanding. I wish all sanding was that easy. But that pretty much does it. Let's take it and put a coat of finish on it. I'm using a spray polyurethane for this. Warm satin. Don't want to go too heavy. Light coats. That's all I can do for now. It's getting late. I won't have time to do another tonight, but I'll let that dry, and tomorrow I'll put on the I'll flip it over, do the second side, and probably do a second coat on both sides. There we go. That's done. I can see a couple little spots in the back need to be sanded, but it'll only take a few minutes. But that's what it looks like with the coat of polyurethane on it. And just so you can see, maybe, I don't know how well it shows up here. There's a few little fuzzies on the back side of this. I'll sand them off. But that was a quick little project. I think it'll be a nice little item to sell in my retail store. Because it didn't take a long time to make, I'll have to figure out what the material cost was, because Purpleheart is a little bit on the expensive side, but I think I can sell for a reasonable price. That's it for that project. If you like this one, please hit the like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more projects like this.